Let's see if they can hear you.
Cool. We're hoping that you guys can hear us now. Tēnā koutou katoa no mai, haere mai ki a Manaki Whenua. We're joined here today for our first Conservation Week live stream by the lovely and wonderful Katarina, who is our kaitiaki of Te Kohinga Harakeke here at Manaki Whenua. So she's going to give us a great tour of the Harakeke and ask all the questions you want, whānau, give them all to her.
Thank you. Thank you, Suzette. I'm so sorry that we didn't have sound at the beginning, but it's all sorted now. So welcome to everybody. Welcome to our Harakeke called Te Kohinga Harakeke or Aotearoa, which is such a beautiful name, or the National New Zealand Flax Collection. I thought, I'm aware that there will be different audiences out there. There'll be experienced weavers, there will be children, hopefully. And so what I'm going to talk is just different things. So something will be for everybody. And if you have questions, like Suzette already said, just ask them. Don't wait, just ask away. And thank you so much for letting us know that the sound didn't work. That is no good to have the no sound. I've written down some notes here, so I'll make sure I don't forget anything. So I started here about 13 years ago, a little bit more than 13 years ago, and became the curator in English language, or maybe a kaitiaki, looking after the plants. And they have taught me so much in these 13 years. Also, of course, a lot of my colleagues and work colleagues and other people, weavers coming here, have taught me a lot. So my knowledge, my mātauranga, is not complete. Every day is a learning journey, and some of you will know more than I do. And I just share with you what I know. And I would always like to hear from you if you have something to add, because that's how we all learn. So the session will be recorded later on. So if you can't make it now, well, you won't hear this now, but if you can't make it and be live, it'll be up on the Manaki Whenua YouTube channel, and you can just watch it there at your leisure. I will talk about three sort of things. A little bit of history, that's when we noticed that the sound is not working. And then I'll talk a little bit about health and well-being of our Harakeke, how we can look after it and how it actually looks after us a little bit too. And then which Harakeke are we going to use if we want to just make a little puti, or if we want to make a whole big wahakura for babies to sleep in, which has become very popular over the last few years. So I thought I'll start with the history. So maybe roughly 800 years ago, and I'm no historian, we had the Polynesian migration happening from much warmer climates to here to Aotearoa. And the people who came had a great knowledge of plants. And they were very familiar with weaving plants or useful plants like the coconut palm or the pandanus, the screw pine, or banana leaves. So these would have been the materials, and many more obviously, that they used every day. When they came here, well, these things didn't grow here. It's too cold. So they looked around, and because they're very amazing plant people, they found Harakeke, or Phormium tenax in the scientific world or in the Latin world. And they found wharariki, which is the word for our swamp flax, or our what is it called? Mountain flax and coastal flaxes. These are the ones that weavers don't use that often. So we're probably, what you just saw when the camera went around, these are mostly Harakeke.
So how many Harakeke are here in the collection?
So we have roughly 50 in the Orchardson collection, but that doesn't mean that they're 50 unique plants. Some of them are actually the same, but they have different names. This is a question actually I get asked a lot, is someone sends me in a leaf or even just a photograph of a Harakeke bush and asks, what is it? Now, This is very hard to say. I can find out if it's a harakeke or a wharariki, but I might not be able to tell you the name, because just imagine when the first people came here, tangata whenua, the plants don't usually have names. It's the people who gave the plants names. So in our orchards and collection, we have beautiful Māori names all around. So when we walk through our collection here, you can see the names written down, and you can also go to our website. On there you can find the use of different harakeke plants. So right here, Brett's Wangturangi Waho, which is a lovely plant, and you can extract muka from it, so that's a cool thing. Next thing I'd like to talk to you is about the confusion between the European flax and our New Zealand flax. I sometimes have people come in here and say, oh yeah, I know, I eat flaxseed oil every day. The flaxseed oil that you buy in the shops is from European flax. That's kind of like a grass, so it's quite different to our New Zealand flax. So from that point of view, I think if we call it harakeke, then the confusion is not so much there. Right. Let's go to some diseases, because a lot of people wonder. Let's see, we'll go to one which has nice fluffy, would that be a good one here to see? So we'll see a little bit of this. These things under here are called scale insects. They're hiding underneath white fluffy stuff, so you can't actually see the insect, it's underneath that white stuff. They have come up in the last probably 5 years when the weather got warmer with the global warming or just less harsh winters. They have spread through our harakeke. They're not a major problem yet, and the only way you could get rid of them would be spraying them with an oil spray, which you can get in a nursery. So if you have a bush at home in your garden, the first thing I would do is clean out all the dead leaves. So if we swing around here, for example, we have a bush which hasn't been tidied up. You can see it looks quite different. You have dead leaves, you have half dead leaves, it's really dense, not much sunshine gets in it, not much air can circulate through it. So that is a perfect breeding ground for all sorts of diseases. Scale insects, rust, which is funguses. So let's see if we can see a rust on here. This bush has no rust, so that's good. You can have what is called notchers and windowers. These are little native moths. They come out only during the night and do the damage there. And a lot of you weavers would know that when you see, you can't see it on this bush now, but when you see little triangles out eaten out, that is the caterpillar of the notcher that has just made little triangles, which are really annoying when you're weaving because it kind of destroys the leaf and the finu you can make of it. Then you got the windower, and that one just eats out little windows, longish windows, and also is not very helpful for weavers. The way to keep them at bay or get rid of them altogether is keeping a bush really tidy. So do not leave your old harvested leaves or rubbishy leaves underneath the bush, because that's where they hide during the day, in the old leaves, and in the night they happily come out and damage your bush. So take your rubbish, or not rubbish, but your left leaves that you don't need for weaving, take them away, compost them somewhere, chop them up, use them for mulch, use them in a different way, but don't leave them with the plants.
So what kind of cleaning would you do to a bush like this? Because I think lots of people would have their harakeke that hasn't been touched at all that they might want to weave from. How would you clean it up?
So I would go to each fan, but I might be able to show that if we go up and get a harakeke knife, and I can show you the tools, and I would cut out all the dead material. I would not cut out the nice leaves. So some weavers cut it down to the three. You know, you have the center shoot, the rito, and then the afi rito, the two shoots on the side, and then cut everything off. If you're harvesting, that's what you would be doing. But we might get to that later on.
But ideally you want it to look nice and tidy
Ideally,
like
we
this.
want to have it look like, let's come over here, more like this bush here, Aotearoa. You can't see any dead leaves. We've cut out and created some air, so there's some space and for the sunlight to get in. So that is the perfect way. And if someone harvests a lot, that's how bush will always look like. So any questions? I haven't gotten any questions for you guys. Cool. So we'll, shall we talk maybe about the aging of a bush? Because some people have asked me on that. We could go in here because there's a lot of space here. And the sunburn too, we'll talk about that too, exactly. We have an ideal bush for aging here. So when you plant the pa harakeke, you got a small little fan, and I'll show you later on how that fan looks like. And you plant about 3 meters apart. It looks stupid at the beginning because it's just this tiny little fan, and then 3 meters away is the next one. But if you imagine, this is the size they will turn into, so you need your 3 meters, so you can still walk between the bushes. Now I'll show you something, what happens when a bush ages. Usually after about 12 years or so, 12, 15 years, not each bush ages the same, the center starts to die and you have like a ring. So I'll show you what happens. If you want to come through here and have a little look inside here. So that's how a bush looks when it ages. The center usually dies. And because the bush grows at the outside, grows new fans and has more light and more nutrition. But also what happens is they start what we call perching up, and that's quite annoying. You can see, for example, this fan, it's way above the ground. So this is where the roots start. The roots should be down here normally for the plant, but this root system has to go through all the deep material down to the ground. So if this fan grows a kaitiaki, a flower, you know, those big stalky flowers they grow, this is probably not stable enough and it might collapse with the weight, and just the whole thing will fall down like this, taking all this with them. You can see how flexible this is. This is annoying for weavers because you can't kind of prop them up. So sometimes after about 15 or so years, we'll have to replant the whole thing. We have to dig up those bushes and start fresh. So that's rejuvenating.
So we've got a question which might be talking about your next topic about the sunburn.
Yes.
So living next to the beach and finding the flax is turning yellow. Is this due to being close to the sea?
If they turn yellow, let's go down here. We'll have a look at this. Yes, turning yellow. Yesterday I got a question from quite a worried lady asking me if she had yellow leaf disease, which is a really scary disease because it just kills the whole bush. In fact, it was a part of the ending of the flax industry in New Zealand, the yellow leaf disease. And let's look at this bush, for example. Lots of yellow leaves. You can see here, here, here. This is not yellow leaf disease. These are just leaves aging. So we can, for example, see this one is starting to age. It's starting getting more yellow. Then this will be the next stage. The tip usually first goes dead, and then the end will look like this. So that's just a normal progression of yellowing. So if you're at the beach, maybe it's a bit harsher, the climate there, and you will have the bush age faster. That could be. And you just got to cut them out, and the new shoots will come through. So if we walk down here, I'll show you something that is usually caused by sunburn. It goes quite brown. Now this one is called nutunui and is prone to have that happen. Now some weavers might not like it, some weavers do like it because the fiber underneath it is actually a beautiful muka color. like light brown, and you can use that color for beauty or embellishment. You know, when you extract your muka, you have colored muka instantly. So this could be quite lovely. As you can see, all the leaf, our sun gets up over there and circles around, so this side of the bush gets most of the sun exposure, and you can see only the part where it is exposed to the sun, it's brown. This part of the leaf here, which is on the other side from the drupe, is not brown. And you go to the other side of the bush, there is no browning over there. So this can happen. Also, I saw that they can, it doesn't look exactly like this, but when we have hard frosts, sometimes the tips here where it bends, where the frost can set on, gets burned. So we have had that a lot happening.
So the person who's living next to the sea, it would be more likely because it's the sun.
That could be, yes, yes, okay. Exactly. It could be the sun. It's always very hard to say what it is unless you look at it closely. But if it's the side that is exposed to the sun, she could look at that, then it's definitely the sun. If the back of the bush is nice and, you know, looks quite different. It could also be fungus, but then it would not look so widespread. Fungus would be more like little red dots all over this, and that would be is usually caused by very dense, not well harvested bush.
So we've had another question around the seeds. I was thinking maybe this would be a good time to show the newly established area. And we can talk about that on the way over.
Yeah, there. Yeah, cool. Let's go. Also, while I walk over there and talk. I would like to talk about cross-pollination, because that's another one which I get asked so many times. Just the other day, last week, a lady wrote, what do I do if my harakeke are planted together so closely? Are they going to cross-pollinate? And I thought it might be important to explain what cross-pollination actually is. Brett, there is water behind you. We had a lot of rain, so there is heaps of water everywhere. We got to be careful where we're walking here. So the harakeke loves water. Cross-pollination is when we have the inflorescence growing up, the koraris, you have the flowers. Harakeke is mostly pollinated by birds. So one bird flies, let's say, from this bush over here, flies to the next bush onto the flower and pollinates that flower, and that will turn into a seed. Now if you take that seed from that bush over there, it'd be a cross between those two bushes. If you take it and plant the seed and have a harakeke grow out of the seed, you will have those two bushes cross. So that's cross-pollination. These bushes will not change, so don't worry if you have bushes planted by, they're not going to change. You know, they're already finished, they have done their thing. It's only their seeds will be most likely not exactly the same as the parents. So that's what cross-pollination is about.
So the question is,
I
collected lots of seeds and kept them in the fridge for 12 weeks. Is there anything I should do when trying to grow them so I get a great strike rate?
With seeds, the harakeke hasn't got a very good strike rate, thankfully, because they create millions of seeds in this harakeke, and just imagine every seed would grow, we would have this massive jungle here. So unfortunately you just have to do it with try a lot of them, try a lot of seeds, and some of them will strike definitely, and a lot of them won't, unfortunately.
So it's better to take a cutting like you have to establish these new harakeke here?
Yeah, it is way faster, first of all. Second of all, that's what all weavers do. They take cuttings because then they know the quality. When you plant a seed, you don't know what you're going to get. It could be anything. It could be good, but it could be also not good. So we have a lot of people, Maori in Australia, who would like to create their own harakeke, and of course it's really difficult to get plants. Into Australia, you have to jump a lot of hurdles, and so a lot of tangata whenua over in Aotearoa are using seeds, and they just have to wait for a very long time, because when you plant a cutting like this one here, so that's just taken off a mother plant, then cut down, everything was cut down, and this one has grown a little bit now. This might be about 3-4 months old, this cutting here. And this one we exactly know the bush where we're taking it from. It was Takariko, and we know what it is, and this will grow into exactly the same bush as if you plant a seed. It'll take 2 more years until you can harvest. So this one will take probably 4 to 5 years until you can do your first harvest. With the seed, 6-7 years until you can. So it's a very long wait, but sometimes it's worth it. So yeah, so that's good. That's how we start our harakeke. We usually plant about 3 fans together, because sometimes one dies, sometimes one is less strong than the other, and also each fan will have babies growing out the side. When they're older, they grow out here, and that's how the bush becomes bigger. Actually, I can show it to you somewhere, because we got some 2-year-olds over here. I think they're about, oh, this one will be 1 year old, but it's already growing. Let me see this one, 2-year-old. You can see here, this is the center fan. This is the main fan here, the big one. And you can see 1, 2, 3 babies growing out of its, can you see it? There. So that's how a harakeke multiplies. Just grows little shoots out. There you go. How much more time have we got?
We've got about 10 more minutes.
Cool.
Shall we go have a look at some harvesting? And we've got a couple of questions that I can ask you from that people have commented on online.
Cool.
So, if the sunburn gives you a lovely coloured muka,
yes,
does frostburn do the same?
No. Frostburn completely damages the leaf. Yeah, it's kind of like burns. It must be more harsh than sunburn. Sunburn seems to just do the surface of the leaf. And mind you, I have not been to the tropics, because harakeke is native to New Zealand, but you know, it's been exported all around the world. I was once at the San Diego Zoo and saw them there growing. So it's everywhere, all around the world. So I don't know in tropical countries where they might struggle a bit more, maybe they get more sunburn. But in Aotearoa, we usually don't get them so burnt that they're dead.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
The second question, which aroha mai koutou, we didn't explain at the start as we just navigate over this little piece of water, is where is the harakeke? And are people able to come and visit?
Yeah, of course. Thank you for asking this. So we're here at Manaki Whenua Land Care Research in Lincoln, the South Island, about 15 minutes from Christchurch, 20 minutes from Christchurch. And so this is our harakeke with the weaving collection. This is the Orchison collection. And anyone can come and harvest here. You have to make an appointment first. And I'll take you out and we'll talk about which bush might be best for you. And yeah, absolutely. This is what it is here for. It's a taonga for the kairaranga of Aotearoa. So, right. So shall we go and do some harvesting?
Yes, I think we should.
Have you got another question?
A couple more questions.
Okay.
As the young plants grow, should we trim the outer leaves?
As the young plants grow, I would say if they're dead, trim them off. But if they look nice and healthy, leave them there.
This may also be around when you could harvest, so maybe not just trim, but also when you could actually harvest from them, which is quite a few years.
Yeah,
afterwards,
yeah. So maybe we can just talk about this when we harvest, because I can show you what to leave and what can be taken for your as a resource.
Okay, great.
So, and are there any other questions we could answer while we're here?
Yes, I've had some cuttings growing for 2 years now. Can you tell me roughly when I should give them a trim or when I should need to?
Okay, yep. So maybe again, same, yeah, when we're doing the harvesting. So is that good?
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
cool.
go. Let's go and have
Let's
a little
go.
look at how you harvest.
All right, here we are, beautiful kohunga. All the weavers would know it. It's a very beautiful muka one for the North Island, not for us. So here we are. Here is a fan. Harakeke grows in fans with a center shoot, the rito, and with the two awhirito on both sides protecting. So this is the family unit, the center of the family. We do not touch those three. So that be the same when you have a small plant, just plant it and it starts to grow. Keep the center always there. And you can harvest the outer leaves, like for example like this, and you just go straight down like that. Take off all the ones that are dead as well. So when you harvest, don't just cut out the nice leaves, but cut actually the whole fan clean. And cut so that you have no pokey things like this. To cut it right down so it's nice and smooth like this. So when someone comes in here, there's nothing that can hurt them. And also when the rainwater comes down here, it'll just flow down to the ground easily. So when you have a newly planted one, you will have not very many fans on the side here to cut off, and a lot of them will be very small. They will be maybe like this one. So there's probably no point in harvesting it. You can if you want to. You can make a tiny little rose with it. But so that's probably what will happen if you have a newly growing fan. So shall we harvest a couple and just do a putti? Have we got time for that?
Yes, a putti, or
okay.
we can extract some muka.
Or we can extract some muka. We'll move on over here. Cool. Here are just some tools. So we use these knives. They are what are they called? Oh gosh, what's their name? I'll put it down below. You have to buy them in boxes of 6, but they're really good, sturdy knives, and you can sharpen them because they're steel. So that works. We use gloves a lot. And of course, in order to extract muka, which all the weavers would know, we use our trusty green lip mussel shells. So here we go. So I'm sure a lot of you have extracted muka before. Actually, this one is not the best to extract muka from, but we'll try it anyway. Or weave, yeah. So you just chop off a fender, a part of your leaf. Then you need quite a sharp Stanley knife. So the leaf has an upper side and a grayish underside, and we'll make the cut on the gray underside. So that would be, let's say you were out in the bush and you needed some strong rope or something to tie it together. That's how you could extract some muka. And then you put it on the incision here, and let's see if this one works. Doesn't work that well, but so here you go. You got the green stuff off, the leafy part off it, and then the top has like a protective layer on it, like waxy layer, and you can clean that off with your shell to make it nice and clean. And you can do the other side as well. There we go. It requires a little bit of practice to do that. But anyway, it just shows you what's inside the harakeke leaf. This is mostly for the students now that haven't done anything like that. So there you go. You got this beautiful white fiber in here, which you can use to make ropes or anything. You can plait it. So there we are.
Katarina, we have so many people watching that we'll have time, we'll extend our session and have time to make a putti.
We do?
If you have time.
Okay, yeah, no, we can do a little putti especially for the school, for you guys at school, eh? That would be really cool, because there is one we can make. I'm just thinking I might use another harakeke. Well, try it with this one.
Explain why you use
Oh, yes, exactly. I forgot to talk about this because there are many different harakeke. This one is a pretty strong one, and this is the strength. This is what the harakeke gives it the strength. So it's the muka inside. Then others, and they're mostly wharariki ones, they have very little muka in it, but they're perfect for little projects like flowers or frogs or Christmas stars or things like that, or for kindergarten students whose hands are little and small and not so strong. So there are, you know, there is a use for every plant. Now this plant, normally I wouldn't necessarily use for making a puti puti, but we'll try it because, as I said, it's a pretty strong muka one. So we'll cut it off here. There we go. There you go. And another telltale that if you'd like to tell apart the harakeke and the wharariki is the edge. Can you see how there's a brown edge to it? Whenever there's a color to an edge, that means it's a harakeke. Usually the pure wharariki ones have almost no color at the edge. They also have no color at the keel at the back here. Can you see that at the back of the leaf we got also color? And wharariki don't have that. They're pretty pale green. Cool. So you're probably seeing it the wrong way how I do it and how I do the flowers, or can you move around the camera? There we go. Okay, so puti puti, a very easy one you could just do, you know, in 2 minutes, is have a part of a leaf like this, and then imagine you're a clock. So that would be 12 o'clock, 3, 6, 9, and you're folding it into these 4 directions. So we're going from 12 to 3, then we go down to 6, and we leave a little gap. Can you see? A little gap. Don't close it completely. Then we go to 9. I go. Oh. See, and that, can you see how it just broke here? That is because it's not very flexible. It's not a harakeke, which is ideal for puti puti. But as we go up the leaf gets the tip of the leaf is much thinner and softer, so it becomes easier to fold. So you just keep going around and create these folds on top of each other. Here you can see 1, 2, we'll do 3. Yeah, got 3 here, let's do, oh sorry, 3 all around. Got 3 here, we've got 3 here. Then you got to hold it tight or else it undo itself. Then you take the tip of your leaf and push it through. It's a very thin tip. Push it through the middle, out the back, and you pull it down like this until it creates like a little rose. Beginning of a flower, the center of a flower, and you hold it with your thumb and your index finger tightly, and you just twist it around like a little windmill, like so. And can you see how it's curling up in the center? Oh, and you can't let it go because there's tension on it. Okay, around. There we are. And if you use one which has these edges with colors, it looks actually really nice. Then you have to hold it tight like so, turn it around, take this strip here and split it in half. And then this needs to be tied around the stem here. There we go. And you can use it, ask a friend or so to hold it so you can make a really good knot at the back, a double knot like so. There you are. You got your little rose. There you go. Any more questions?
Yes.
Oh.
Hey. Hold it up.
Hold it up. There. Can you see it?
So a few questions about people who are starting out their own, they've been gifted harakeke or they're starting to plant them.
Yep.
Is there anything that can make them grow better? Can you add anything?
Oh.
Make sure the soil's really good?
Yes. Good question. Thank you. Harakeke is a very forgiving plant, so you can plant it most anywhere. The one thing it doesn't like is constantly standing waters. You can't put it like a lily into a pond or something like that. They like every now and then being flooded, but not constantly in water. What you could add in a garden, for example, just like if you grow vegetable, if you add compost or nice soil you've found somewhere to enrich the soil to add more nutrients, the harakeke will do better too. But even if you have nothing like we did here, it's sort of a clay soil. We haven't added any compost or anything like that, and they still did quite well. So they're not a... Yes, they take a while. So the little cutting we saw there out in our nursery, from that point to when you can do your proper first harvest, it's probably about 5 years, 4 to 5 years. But saying that, if you pamper it and give it water when it's dry in summer and weed it well and put some compost on it, more nutrition, it's just like any living creature, you know, it will do better. Yeah.
Are there any good weaving teachers that you can recommend?
There are heaps of wonderful raranga kaioko throughout both islands. I don't want to name one person because then you know, 1 or 2, 3 people. What I can tell you is go to your local marae, connect with those people there and ask around. There are a lot. Also maybe join a Facebook page that is about raranga. There are wahakura ones, but a lot of them also talk about other weaving. So yeah, Facebook will be a place to find good teachers, and sometimes go to city councils. They might know of workshops that are running, or on our Maori and Polynesian and Textile Plant Facebook page. We have often people advertising there. And
we've just had a question,
cautious.
Is the collection also grown in the North Island? The answer is no, sorry, but why, you could probably explain.
The collection, not the exact same collection, but this collection in parts and sometimes in completeness exists all around New Zealand. So we have quite a few other collections. Yeah, definitely. Looked after.
This is our only Manaki whenua.
But this is the only Manaki whenua one, yeah, that is looked after and kept going for the last 30 years. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Katarina, for
We're
your
done.
knowledge and expertise.
Cool.
That's all the time that we have.
Thank you guys for all your questions.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in. If you have any more questions, write them on the video and Katarina or myself will make sure they get answered. And if you want any more information, you can head to our Facebook page, website, or Katarina's Facebook page, which you just mentioned before.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Bye. Ka kite anō koe.